Hi, my name's John. Welcome to another Wednesday catch-up video. I'm going to carry on and show another instalment of the Stuart and Turner steam engine restoration I did 4 or 5 years ago. This is getting some good views. Even I'm interested in watching what I was doing, and I forgot a lot of the things that went into it, how much work was actually involved. Earlier this week I posted a video about a Vapor machine that a friend and I are getting involved in. Like starting like a small business. I will put another link in this description box to that video. Have a look if you want any vapor blasting doing. That is contact numbers there. I'm going to do some vapor blasting probably the weekend because I've got an aluminium gearbox casing to weld, and I think the vapor blast cleans it up really nicely to be welded. Anyway, well worth a look. Give a lot of bit of support. It's nice to be able to spend a little bit more time on this Stuart engine. In the last video I had the drill on the end of the crankshaft and everything was working and it was pumping oil everywhere. Once again I've removed the oil pump end. The problem I've got was that the stud here was stripped, and I put a helicoil insert in and I made a new stud. The 6mm die I've got's not very good, the studs come loose, but the threads in the insert are very good. So I'm going to make a new stud this time, and instead of using a die I'm going to screw cut the 1mm thread. Then once that's done, this end cover can go on for real, and we can start putting con rods and crossheads and things together and actually get a little bit of build time on it. Right, this is 1/4 inch silver steel, so we need 0.35 I think it is to make it down to 6mm. Actually springing that out of the way. I think I'll put a centre in it. And it should. We'll put it further in the chuck. That's better. Make sure that's down to 6mm now. Zero the caliper because I set it at 6mm. Right, I've got the layer set up to cut the 6mm thread. Right, then we're about ready to go, I think. This is just about done. I think one more pass. A little bit of cutting oil on there. Got to find the bastard oil can. There it is. I started using this royal purple as a cutting lubricant, or a cutting oil. It's absolutely brilliant. These are the big end bolts that had clear nuts on, and then castle nuts with split pins through. So I'm going to get the bits of broken split pin out of here. Pop round nails make excellent little punches because they're really hard. Clear that one. Bastard thing. See the rust and crap coming out of there. Right. I'm going to clean those up on the wire wheel a little bit. You can see the pitting and corrosion on the end of that head. I was lucky with this engine. If the crank had been on the bottom of the stroke in the water, it would have been a different kettle of fish. It's actually an oil feed up to that gudgeon pin. Just going to pump some oil up to make sure it is clear. Of course the oil can's leaking, the spout's leaking on the oil can. I'll give it a squirt with the airline just to make sure it's clear. Right, it's blowing the oil up out of the size of the gudgeon pin, so that's splendid. These are the bearings, or a split shell bearing. There's a little locator there. That doesn't stop the bearing turning. All that does is locate the bearing like that. You see the oil hole lines up with the hole for that tube. It went in that way with that oil feed, went to the flywheel end, I remember that, and I've just been and checked the video. There's also a pop mark on that bearing cap there that I put on. And there'll be a one on here as well. There is indeed. Just helps the bearing to slide into the cap easier. These always go together with the two locating things like that. Always. So that goes together like that. It's the clamping force of the conrod on the bearing that stops it turning, not the little locating lug. Right, so we're going to drop this into the hole. I want some nice thick oil on the journal. Thick oil on there. And that goes in like that. This is where it's going to get interesting and messy. It's starting to get rather heavy, this thing now, which that is very heavy. Right, you can see the conrod there. We'll drop a big end bolt through. You're not going to see much for me hand actually. Right, there's one bolt through. Once again, plenty of thick oil just to keep it alive as it's initially starting up. There's a plain nut on there. Right, I'll turn it round, do the other side. There's actually writing on that rod there, so somebody's marked it, probably as it was assembled from new. A little bit of oil on the threads of that, just help it snug down nicely. And the plain nut. I don't know what the torque will be on these. FT I would imagine, which is FT stands for, no, it doesn't stand for that, it stands for fairly tight. Right, so if we nip each one, we'll get the right size spanner, we'll nip each one, turn it over, make sure it's nice and free, then we'll, I don't think I'll lock them up solid until we get the crosshead on, the trunk gate on, just in case I've got to take it back to bits. It's pointless putting it all together and putting split pins in, but we will nip them up and make sure it does turn over nice and freely. And we'll find the right size spanner. Right, so that one's tight-ish. Right, that's them tight and still nice and free, no problem at all with that. Excellent. I should have put this bit in before I put the trunk gate in or the crosshead in, but I didn't, so I can manage to fiddle it in. It's just a bronze clevis with a pin through it and some nice little brass split pins. I think I'll turn the camera off because I might start swearing here. There's quite a lot of rust up inside this trunk gate where the actual crosshead was seized. I think a wire brush should. I'll try and that diagram, that's a bit on the pathetic side. Sounds a bit better. Yeah, it's taken out quite nice. I don't really want to put emery tape in there if I can help it. A cylinder horn would be ideal, but unfortunately mine's at work. That's taken the rust out quite nicely. Happy with that. Yeah, that's good now. If you can see up there, there's a little bit of pitting up towards the top, but nothing's not gonna do any harm. These are the glands or the stuffing boxes. That's packing material goes down in between that follower. The packing material is graphite, impregnated yarn. Used to use asbestos, but it won't be asbestos anymore. That gets compressed and that seals up against the rods. In this case it's the valve rod. You see that one's sealing against steam pressure, and that one's just keeping the water and stuff out the crankcase. Exactly the same with this one here, which is the piston rod gland. All this is in good condition, it's nothing the matter with it. I took the packing out and put new packing in. Obviously you've got to put these on before you put it together, otherwise you're not able to get them on. Oh, this part of the engine is in really good condition. This is all bronze, it's all quality gear. Right, so basically now it's ready to go on top of the engine. It's been a strange last couple of days. Yesterday, last night in fact, I drove down to Preston to a family funeral, and I got stuck on the M6 for 2 hours in a massive traffic jam. Absolutely desperate it was, the worst one I've been in. Unfortunately somebody had an accident with a car and a wagon, and I think they were really seriously injured, if not killed. So you're complaining about the traffic jam, but really there's somebody a lot worse off than you. When I got to the funeral, was a cousin of mine. We haven't been close, but a cousin, it's still not a very nice thing. And it makes you think and ponder. When people say that they don't speak to their relatives, or they don't speak, I mean, their brother is, I lost my brother, and when people say I don't talk to my brother, it absolutely pisses me off. I don't know how they can say that. You normally find that they do eventually sort of realise that they're being a little bit silly and a bit petty, and that time is normally the funeral. That's when you realise, I wish I hadn't done that. So you've got brothers, you've got family, good friends. Give them a ring, it does no harm. We're living in some really strange times, difficult, worrying, scary times, and I think everybody needs a little bit of support to help them on their way. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.